Hello and welcome to the special series of videos, The Car Dealer Problem Solvers. We've teamed up with Sentience Automotive Solutions to provide you with some help and advice on some of the most pressing topics. I'm James Baggett, I'm the founder of Car Dealer Magazine, and joining me today is Ali Mae Cahill, the MD of Sentience, and Simon Reeves, a senior consultant for the firm. Now, Simon has joined the team after working for Independence V12 Sports and main dealer group Drive Motor Retail. So got some fantastic dealer experience there. Chaps, a very interesting start to the year is probably a kind way of putting it. Ali, let's come to you first. You're talking to a lot of your clients, I'm sure, about how they can cope with this lockdown. What advice are you giving them on how do they do things slightly differently this time round?
Well, I mean, the first thing, a bit of an obvious one, is, as we were just chatting before we started, it's a different sort of lockdown, this one, isn't it? It feels less positive. The novelty factor, they're doing press-ups in your lounge to Joe Wicks and baking banana bread. Not that I did either of those things, but, other people did, apparently. It's not quite like that. So I think the first thing is whenever I'm talking to clients, is just making sure, the real simple thing is a bit of positivity. There is a way out of this. And I'm asking them all to look at 6 and 12-month plans, as opposed to what we're doing in January. Forget January. Let's look at our 6 and 12 months. What does that look like? How many units, profitability? Because if we look at, say, a 12-month and we have 2 terrible months, you've got 10 months, haven't you? To make it up. If you've got your processes right, if you've got your sales team's headspace, you've got your digital offering right, and all the things that, we'll work with our clients on. So it's not, so I guess initially the answer is not to hit the panic button. This is a marathon, not a sprint. It's a bit choppy, to say the least, at the moment. But the conversations I'm having with them is, look, let's look at the business plan. Something very simple. Let's look at unit target, profit target. How many inquiries do we need to hit these numbers in January, February, March, and then slowly move that up. Throughout hopefully when the vaccine kicks in, the spring months, summer months, or autumn months, so that we get a whole picture on the year more so. Because the problem with looking at January and February on their own is that it can lead you down a pretty dark path. You can make some bad decisions. I'm talking to people on about cutting this advertising off and cutting that off, I'm furloughing him. I'm saying, don't do any of those things. I get you're going to take a hit, but it's a very short-termist view.
There's definitely a lot more furloughing going on this time round from the dealers that I'm speaking to. I mean, Simon, perhaps with your dealer background, what would you be doing if you were sat running in a dealership right now, looking at this lockdown?
Well, I think the first thing, James, is that without a shadow of a doubt, you can't save your way to a profit. So whilst, I think a lot of people are taking advantage of the furlough system, I think some of them are cutting a little bit too deep. And you've got to set up to do business, because believe you me, the business is out there to be done. It's harder work, but you've got to face the market that you've got. You've got to make sure that you've got your marketing right and that you've got your team briefed. And there is no reinventing the wheel in reality, but retailing in this environment is a little bit different to what it is when everybody's out and operating freely. So they've got to have a strong market presence. You've got to have a fully briefed team, and you need to be set up to manage the inquiries, because you will get them.
The experts I've been chatting to over the last few days and into last week, from Auto Trader and Cap HPI, both pinning the market on they think around 50% or half of what dealers could expect at this time of year. I mean, that does. I'm ever the optimist, and I think that's actually, whichever way you look at it, that's that could be quite a good thing. How did dealers go about making sure that they grab as much of that 50% of that business as possible, Simon?
Well, they've got to be proactive, and they've got to set the business up to trade. So what they can't do is cut too deep. They've got to have because I know there are a number of dealers out there that are just throwing a salesman into a showroom and perhaps a receptionist to receive calls and playing the "we'll get back to you," thinking that they won't get any inquiries. But actually, there are inquiries out there. Without a doubt, in this environment, you've got to work a lot harder to make sure that you maximise that opportunity when it comes along. And to do that, you've got to have the resource. So you've got to invest in your people. You've got to make sure that they all understand the customer journey from click all the way through to collect, and to make sure that that they're fit to manage the inquiries that inevitably they will get. And
it's tough. Sorry, I was sorry to interrupt you there. I was going to say it's tough to make a decision at the moment for a lot of these dealers when they do still have furlough on the table. Are the people that you're talking to thinking that this is something that they have to make use of because it's only around for this period of time now?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say that you would never make use of furlough, and I'm not necessarily suggesting that you have a fully laden business with all the costs that go with that. There is a line to be had, but I think the problem is at the moment with some of the dealers that I'm speaking to, and they're some of the less successful dealers, are cutting too far and too deep. They're doing the one-man chucked in the showroom, where the guys that are getting to close to 70% of what they did previously are the guys that are setting up. They've got a management team on site. They have resource. They are managing the inquiries all the way.
Well, some are stopping advertising. Some are stopped spending on, for example, paid social,
which is crazy. You just can't do that.
So we know that it costs them £62 cost per acquisition. So we know for every 62 quid they sell a car, they're going, are you going to spend £300 this month? No, I've got to save money.
So, Ali, what is the difference then for those? Because you've mentioned, Simon mentioned there that some of these dealers are actually still managing to perform at 70%. I mean, we're hearing some others are at 30% of normal levels. What is the difference between the good guys and the bad guys?
Well, bad guys, but yeah, I mean, the key difference, I guess, is, look, stock will always play a part. Some that are doing the volume might be doing so on price. You might be, buying the business. So it's important to caveat that it's all well and good selling loads of cars, but are you making any money? But what I would probably be, let's go back to the start. Okay, the ones that are doing more than others successfully are very transparent at initial outset. They're going to change the way they're managing and handling inquiries. So before, it was all about selling the appointment, get the customer down to the showroom. If that phone rings or the email, social media, wherever that leads come from, get them down, get the appointment. So of course, can't do that so much now. So customers want more up front. They want to know a lot more. Before, it's very sort of closely guarded. How much do you think roughly ballpark from a part exchange? You used to get away with going, I can't give you any idea over the phone if you bring it down there. Customer go, all right, don't worry about it. Put the phone down, off they go. Go to We Buy Any Car or anybody else. So what's really important for dealers is you've got to stop using the old ways for a new challenge. You need to give up a lot of information up top that you probably aren't uncomfortable doing. A video tour of the car. Give them a price for the part exchange, a firm price. Show them the service book. Take photographs of it, do a little video of it. Show them how many owners it's had, CO2s, whatever. You've got to be willing to be transparent right from the outset, because that builds trust, because customers do have a nervousness to transact online. So if we can add a load of transparency and trust at initial outset, instead of the traditional methodology of just get them down there, John, we've got to look at it that way. That then wraps itself into, as Simon rightly said, just managing that journey all the way through. Where are they dropping out of the sales funnel? Are they getting all the information, going online to do a finance application and then dropping off at that point? Do you know, as a business, no matter how big you are, where your customers are dropping out of your sales funnel? Because I bet most don't, but the ones at 70% of their run rate do. And that's the key thing. They know where customers are dropping out of their sales funnel. They know if it's digital journey, physical inquiry management. So they're the things. And the only other thing I suggest so transparency, trust, managing that journey and understanding your sales funnel. But the other thing I would add to that is generating digital leads. Those that are at 70% are generating digital leads. So they're big into social. They are committed to paid ads. They are committed to driving activity from omni-channel, not just Auto Trader or Motors.co or anybody similar classifieds. You know, that is part of the sales funnel. So social media, and so is resolicitation of existing database. You know, people seem to think that because it's lockdown, we just can't, you know, retarget our customers that bought a car from us 2-3 years ago. They're going, well, they won't want to. They do actually, because there's no holidays. The fun's been sucked out of nearly everything. Can't go for a pint, can't go for a pizza, can't do anything. So do you know what? Wouldn't it be nice to treat yourself to a new motor?
And I wholeheartedly agree with that. I think there is a lot of people out there that are looking to cheer themselves up with car purchases at the moment. What has been absolutely fascinating for us is we've just done all of the mystery shopping for the used car awards, which we've obviously done every year for the last 10 years. And it's been incredibly interesting to see how differently dealers up and down the country are taking the digital leads that we submitted. They're taking them far more seriously now.
Yeah.
And actually, our mystery shoppers reported that a lot of them were giving up a lot of that information you said. I mean, the ones that really did well were the ones that did do the video tour. They offered to bring the car down to us as and when we needed it. Do you find, and I'm going to direct this question to Simon, do you find that dealers are taking these digital leads more seriously now? And also, do you think that some of the more traditional ones are finding this change quite hard to do?
Yes, I mean, I think every inquiry now is getting a level of, for the successful dealers, a level of attention that perhaps previously wouldn't have, and that's across every inquiry. And I use a one that's quite prolific, CarWow. Now, CarWow is quite a prolific portal. There's lots of inquiries coming through at the moment, very speculative inquiries, and of course you have to put a lot of work in to respond to those inquiries and come up with your best deal. But if you put the work in, you will get a return from it. But it takes a lot of effort, a lot of time, and you have to put the work in. But if you do that, you will get a return on that effort that you invest. So I think the guys that are being successful are taking every inquiry to its nth degree. And one of the key changes I think that dealers can make is, instead of trying to nick the swapper, which is something that we've done in the past, to use as a negotiation tool, and perhaps not giving up. In fact, we never really give up our best deal out the gate. I would advocate that what the dealers do is to go with their best deal first, because what that's doing is telling the customer that you are being transparent. They'll recognise that if they've been speaking to anybody else. If you go with your best deal first, make sure you give them a strong part exchange price, because good quality part exchanges are hard to come by, and that hasn't changed and will never change. So right now, I think, is the time for the dealers to step up, put their best foot forward, and give a strong deal, and also make sure that we don't forget about value-added products, because as the margin will be squeezed ever tighter, you've got to make sure that you utilize video resource to demonstrate products. You can only do that if you build empathy with the customer. That will take time, so expect the gestation with the customer to be slightly longer than it was historically. As Ali pointed out, previously what you were looking to do was get the customer down into the showroom as quickly as you possibly can, and sell an appointment. Things are different. We have to do things differently, and I think the dealers are successful at recognising that, and that's what they're doing.
And Simon, that's an interesting point that you make there about offering the best deal out of the blocks. I mean, that will feel quite alien to some dealers. Do you think that they should be sticking to that deal? It's a case of a no haggle policy once it's out there.
I'm not necessarily saying there'd be no haggle, but what I'm trying to suggest is that go for a sensible deal. Give them your best deal out the gate. I'm not saying that doesn't mean if the customer comes back and says, give me another 200 quid and I'll buy it, that might be a route you could go. I think customers are less inclined, certainly from the dealers I've been speaking to, they're less inclined to get into that negotiation situation. What they want is a good deal, and I think customers are quite intuitive. They know what a good deal looks like in most cases, and so if you hit them with a proper deal up front, you've got a lot better chance than you have of going full up, which is the traditional way that dealers would approach a customer once sat in showroom. And I think in this environment and in this situation, it's got to be best foot forward. And what you'll do then is you'll get a better closure ratio. You'll maximise your inquiry rate, which is, again, always critical, but even more critical.
Too many dealers.
In the current market.
You know, speaking to ours, but then we always like to just keep abreast of what's, you know, we do a bit of mystery shopping and whatnot. Too many dealers, even now, you make an inquiry, don't get back to you digitally. If they do, it's, oh, you know, we can't do this, we can't. They're always telling what they can't do. Those, and that is the thing, you know, sort of to come off about what Simon said, was the dealers that are doing the business, to be honest with you, as I said, are going up top, transparent, trust, best deal first. Ask for the business, look after the customer, get it done. We're not interested in what you can't do. I want to know what you can do for me. You know, yeah, we can't do that, I'm afraid. Or we're not allowed to do that. Don't want to hear that. Don't want to hear all the negative. This is supposed to be an enjoyable. It's different, but we still got to remember that buying a car should be an enjoyable process for a customer. We mustn't try. Yeah, we've got to work within the constraints, but it still needs to be magical. It still needs to be exciting. And the trouble is that dealers aren't very good at creating excitement, right? They're not good at it. They almost, it's almost like some treat it as a privilege that the customer is able to buy a car from them. You know, well, it's lockdown. So, you know, if you paid online and if you came at 11, then I might be able to just show you inside it, you know? And do you know what? They're doing 30% of volume.
Ali, it was quite clear that we're going to be in this lockdown for quite some time. I mean, they're saying at the weekend it could be as late as the end of March. Dealers are going to have to get used to this, aren't they? Yes. I mean, let's finish on a reason to be cheerful. And they're clearly business to be had out there. I mean, what would your point be on things that dealers should be looking forward to?
Well, as you quite rightly point out, I mean, I don't know how long this is going to last for. I would say you're probably about right there, James. I think we all need to be planning for a Q1 under lockdown. So that's the first thing. So loads of reasons to be cheerful, because if you do better than expected, it's better, right? Gives you a better start. If you think of it as like a two-legged game of football, right? You go at the first leg and you're losing 3-0. This is what this is. You know, still go for it and be positive, because if you can score, you're still in the tie. You know, you're still in the game. If you can get 2, you still lose the game, fine. But do you know what? Let's wait and we're getting back at our place, you know, in 3 or 4 months' time, and we'll turn this result around. And that's what I'd be saying to my sort of squad and the dealers is, look, you know, forget the result. It's gone. It's gone. Forget it. But let's not get hammered. You know, let's not get hammered so that the second leg is beyond us. Let's get in front of our own fans and let's get a result. And so I would say to all dealers out there, mitigate, you know, play tight, sweat every inquiry, be transparent up top, you know, don't leave yourself short, invest in your marketing, get leads through your business digitally, set up a business plan for the next 6 months. If I want to sell 100 cars, how many leads do I need at my conversion rate digitally to do that? Right, I need 300. Okay, how many did we get last month? 180. Right, we need 100, 120 leads. Where are they going to come from? If we look at a sales funnel, take your sales funnel, look at your conversion rate, write a plan for that period of time, there's 3 months, and keep yourself in the game. Do not lose heart with what I say. To end on a positive note, is that you are going to lose in Q1. You are not going to hit all the budgets that you hoped you would hit. So let's just not have a disaster so that we can play the second half strongly and win. Like it. That's I like finishing on a positive note. Thank you very much for your time, Ali, today. Simon, nice to see you. Thank you very much for your time also. And we look forward to chatting to you next time. Okay, so for more car dealer problem solvers like this one, you can log on to cardealermagazine.co.uk and click on the knowledge tab at the top of the page. Thanks ever so much for joining us. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.